Hello, it's Martin. We're back for another video. Good news, I know what Egypt's actually doing. Getting their trial of royalist officers. Also, Afghanistan became a republic under the Mahaz-e-Milli Islami Afghanistan under Gamal Muhammad Gabar, which are, I wouldn't say pro-Soviet because some levels they both are, but this one is more pro-communist. And I think the other one is. It's more likely they're going to reopen Pakistan diplomacy. Or they're going to strike Pakistan. Well, either way. Hey. Anyway, more important thing aside, everyone's still doing the thing from last time. Fun fact, Burma have death squads. Very interesting stuff. So, back to watching Kurdistan like Hawk. Still making way away. The Taiwan Strait crisis. After communist victory in the Civil War, nationalists escaped to Taiwan, steadfastly hold it against further Maoist offensives. Along the islands of Taiwan, a few islands in the South China Seas were also captured by nationalists, such as Kinmen and Matsu, deploying 38,000 troops to Kinmen and 15,000 troops to Matsu. Recent troops from the People's Liberation Army have begun shelling the aforementioned islands, with Zhao Enlai claiming that Taiwan must be liberated from the oppressive force of the Kuomintang, of the Chinese Nationalist Party. The current rule with an iron fist. Currently rule with an iron fist. The People's Liberation Army also sent forces to seize Yingshan Island off the coast of Xinjiang. Concerning. The state heat planning apparatus has cleared new railroad to be built in parts of industrialized area. However, there are many options as where the road should be placed. Siberia has been floated around as an idea, but largely empty and road may good race. The body has been proposed, but again, it's most stupid. Finally, the proposed including the Kazakh Socialist Republic, Socialist Republic, the Turkmen Socialist Republic, the Czech Socialist Republic, and the Uzbek Socialist Republic. That would help with the internal mobility and industrial development of the Investing in the Baltic will open up many opportunities. Royalist military purge in Egypt. The royalist military officers loyal to the king, are being put on trial for collusion in crimes against Egypt. The charges include things such as the general corruption and abuse of power, but many officers are being brought to trial for specific offences such as brutality and direct theft. Trials take a long period of time and more complex cases. Evidence is held together and will likely last for months. Already, some officers attempt to flee the country and attempt to escape potentially punished. Interesting. Anyway. Alright, I need to go. What are these? Silly me. Connect the Union. To complete our new infrastructural and industrial improvement, we should create a vast system of roads and highways to connect our vast country to Leningrad, to the Baltics, to Sebastopol, to the Black Sea. Sebastopol has a V instead of B. To Vladivostok in the Far East. Our comrade citizens will have the freedom to travel like never before. Meeting with Finnish leaders, the Finnish President Juho Paasikivi, he arrived several hours ago on the state visit. After a small tour of Moscow and dinner, it was time for diplomatic talkings. After a brief talk about the global situation, the discussion moved towards the relationship between Finland. It is decided the agreement to friendship, cooperation, mutual assistance will be extended by 30 years, or the YYA. At some point, the area of Porkala became the subject of discussion. Juho Kosti mentioned hearing rumors willing to return the area. In Italy, it is true, but true that for a while now, Kaganovich, along with some generals, having been considering the usefulness of the base as technology has advanced significantly, regained in 1944, and the original layer has been lost. Among other things, the base is very expensive to maintain due to its location and it needs extremely tight border security. Kaganovich didn't deny the rumors, but it wasn't willing to share the reason. Security. Juho Kosti repeatedly asked if he was willing to start negotiations returning the base to Finland. Listening to the rest of more. Do know, however, that negotiation as time passes across trees and all personnel station and trouble from Finland, if you know. So all your bases belong to us. Screw that. Porkala is ours and will always be ours. Screw yourself, Finland. And no offense to the Finnish. They are very nice people. Forgot to do a timer. It's been at 8, so Alexa, set timer for 52 minutes.
52 minutes, starting now.
Why 52 minutes, you may ask? Well, it's because my bus didn't arrive, so I have a day off basically. After I've already told the school that the bus didn't arrive and I get the day off. Truly a blessed day. So I'm getting this done now so I don't have to do it for the rest of the week. If I'm planning to do it for the rest of the week. Anyway, I think everyone thinks the same, so I'm gonna continue to look at try to sound like a hawk. Camera spectroph gained. I get coating. The murder of Emmett Till. The black community and the wider public were shocked after the Chicago Defender and Jet Magazine published the unedited photo of Emmett Till. Till, a 14-year-old Chicago boy from Chicago, has been brutally killed by white men while visiting family in Mississippi. Till was allegedly whistling at a white woman working in a grocery store. Her husband and friend tracked him down, beat him brutally, then shot him before knowing his body. The court refused to convict the killers. During the funeral of Emmett Till, his mother ordered an open casket to show the world what they have done to her son. The shocking images are being seen as a catalyst for more civil rights action. Many across the country cannot comprehend how an alleged incident of offending a woman could lead to such a brutal murder and lack a justice just for a victim. Barbaric. Anyway, Kurdistan's embracing socialist realism. You're rebuilding damaged roads. You're removing LEEA oversight. So that's going to go well. You're investing in agricultural technology. You're getting Soviet T-55s. You're getting the early completion of the second 5-year plan. You're emphasizing heavy industry. You're forming the hard-working intelligentsia. You're commit to the international workers' struggle. You're getting metallurgy investments. Your chemical institutions of the West. You're identifying rising talent. You're getting the Uyghur Pioneers as an organization. You're opening up forsaken regions. You're getting Indian Mongolian counteroffer. No idea. You're getting unrestrained growth. Part of that tree. And you finished the first communist tree. You're now going parts of that tree. Also doing that tree. Still didn't get that. Still don't know what that is. No idea. I think you finished your focus. No, you haven't finished your focus tree. You're just being patient. So we have no idea what you're doing. You're recognizing the Royal Lao government. Okay. We have no idea what you're doing. But it could be a number of 4 things. No idea, but you're not even communist, so who cares? You're banned at Lawika. So continue to watch Kurdistan like a hawk. Union connected. Now do our military tree before going to finally move to the next area. Study German submarine designs. We captured quite a few German submarines and researching who designed them, and at the end of the Second War, by studying U-boat designs we can improve our own submarine fleet. So we got that one. Still need to do the entirety of the Air Force, but apart from that we are doing decently well, I personally believe. So, Okay, so then Kurdistan getting grain shipments. Brown versus the Board of Education. The Supreme Court reached landmark decision in the Brown v. Board of Education. The court struck down the separate but equal doctrine and voted unanimously that racial segregation of children in public schools is unconstitutional. The courts found that even if there is no difference in quality, even the existence of separate facilities is inherently unequal and is a violation of the 14th Amendment. The case saw Oliver Brown, I still not know who Oliver Brown is, has filed a lawsuit against the Topeka School Board for refusing to allow his daughter to attend a high school, higher quality and geographically closer white school over a faraway black school. The court ruling now requires the school to immediately begin integration and remove any legal protection for segregation. The Native. I have no idea what NAACP stands for, and the Civil Rights Act is. I know N means Negroes or something like that. I don't entirely remember what it stands for. Well, activists are enjoyed for the ruling, while white pro-segregation politicians are already expressing outrage at the ruling. Will the South let it pass? Probably not. Prawn deposed by the Argentine army. Drake news are arriving in Argentina of a successful coup d'etat against the Peronist government. The coup d'etat occurred while members of the Army, Navy, and Aeronautics, under the command of retired General Benjamin Menez and Eduardo Lunardi, successfully overthrew the government of President Juan Domingo Perez. In their brief proclamation, the rebels accused the government of having led the nation to a total bankruptcy of its internal and external credit, due to both morally and spiritually, as well as materially. The restrictions on civil liberties and actions of political opponents. The constitutional reforms that allowed the re-election of the president, as well as the measure to politicize the armed forces, seems to have influenced by the military's apprehension to move the movement. Despite some disagreements amidst the rebel leadership, the coup was launched during a favorable political moment and was successful, while Peron's currently whereabouts are being unknown, while the current provisional military dictatorship promised to return to democratic processes. As they argue that it will only happen when all Peronist influence is removed from all levels of government. It will remain to be seen if Argentina will become a democratic nation one day. A victory for democracy. Question mark. So the national collective junta. You do not have a focus tree. Still. Alright. Do you watch Kurdistan like walk? America launches Operation Passage to Freedom. The United States announced the initiation of Operation Passage to Freedom. The American forces will help the French Army and French Navy evacuate pro-French and anti-communist Vietnamese civilians trapped in communist North Vietnam. The safety of non-communist South Vietnam. In particular, the campaign is focusing on evacuating Catholics in North Vietnam who will face the threat of an atheistic regime. Hostile propaganda against that they are pro-French fifth column. CIA is secretly working with South Vietnamese government to produce spread leaflets in North Vietnam urging Catholics and others to flee the communist regime. The current government in South Vietnam desperately wishes to bring more Catholics to bolster a government heavily reliant on Catholics. Officials in North Vietnam are condemned of a call hostile propaganda of reports of rival river traffic, roads and villages being cut off from major cities to block the flow of refugees. Another CIA ploy? Perhaps. I mean, the South Vietnam is nowadays controlled by ostensibly as a group of possibly religious groups. Who truly knows? You will never truly know. that you're getting marine training program. Same as last time, 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 same as last time. You're embracing socialist realism. You're getting military investments. You're established the 1st and 3rd Aviation Division. Don't know what happened second. You're doing the same as last time. You'll begin hygiene campaigns. You're still doing the same as last time. You're recruiting spies. Unknown. You're criticizing the Liberal Democratic Party. Unknown. You're recognized doing the same as last time. Unknown. What? Okay. I'm taking the dogs. You're having the conflict of the RCC. I'll watch you in time. See what's happening. You and pray tell that you get the communist side. Need to click on that. What if it just happened? You're further draining leak fan. The shuffle in the steppe. Earlier today, the Mongolian People's Report has reported their displeasure with the Chinese government due to their aggressive refusal to work with the Mongolian government in their attempts to integrate Inner Mongol populations into the domain. Initially, the people reported denied their initial attempt to organize a session of the Inner Mongolian region into their state and hopes to better relations following the transference of the region. One of the Mongolian people sent another communique requesting an open migration policy, with the people of China further denied. Tonight, many in Mongolia have left, getting frustrated and lack of cooperation. Let's get ready for a scuffle. Pakistan condemns Afghani threats. Since the independence of Pakistan, Afghanistan has constantly challenged us internationally. Afghanistan voted against their entrance into the United Nations and has said it are trying to be stirring up tribal uprisings against our government. This dates back to the British period when the Afghans claimed the Pathans residing in our lands. I think it's called Pashtus, so it's a U. Belong to them. Now the Afghans claim the treaty with Britain no longer applies, and they have the claims to all Western territory, and with the Pashtu, I think it's Pashtu, populations. Considering the tensions with India, many in the government feel will continue conflict with Afghanistan will only hurt us. However, others suggest having a hardline, tough approach to Afghans will ensure that they do not try to stab us in the back. We will control their access to the international goods. You can find them about it. Concerning, that's all from Pakistan's perspective. Integrated circuit, which is where the hell is it? There it was. Yeah, satellite communication, that sounds a good idea. Give me a minute. Now I've got to check this out. God damn it, it's automatic. At least we got Nassau and the United. The United Arab Republics. The further 100 Flower campaign. China Mao saved a policy of letting 100 flowers bloom and 100 schools for contend is designed to promote flourishing of the arts and the progress of science, and it was the idea of the People's Republic of China began the 100 Flowers campaign, being directed at the encouraging the citizens of China to express openly their opinions, as the idea was to promote intellectuals to discuss the country's problems in order to promote new forms of art and institutions. It didn't take long to protests to rise against the Communist Republic of China for letting for letters to flood Chairman Mao with criticism, just as it didn't take long for Chairman Mao to begin a prosecution campaign against those who were were publicly criticized and condemned to prison labor camps. China was soon witness to the greatest creation of the anti-rightist movement. So that failed in its stead. Very interesting. So you are still draining Lake Van. You're getting food grain from the Soviet Union. You're spreading socialist realism. You're getting the Triana textile plant. You're getting legal fortification efforts. You're abolishing media censorship. You're empowering workers' councils. You're encouraging limited private activity. Still doing the same as last time. You're expanding the Czech pioneers. You're getting synthetic fiber in Golzau. You're getting frontline against NATO. You get urban economics. You're requesting your sanction. And no, I can't. This is automatic. Can't do it or bother. You're asking for sanction of Mongolia into the Soviet Union, which will be denied automatically, even though I prefer to not deny it. The Sino-Indian Treaty. Nothing. You're expanding coal mines. Nothing. You're beginning resource prospecting. No idea. You're getting economic growth. Does technically Buffism count as a type of communism? I have no idea, and I'm not getting into that subject. Anyway, continue to just before we do that. Ramp up submarine production. Submarines are the only chance we can have to doing any damage to Western shipping. If you even could to conflict, we need to make sure our fleet is up to task. Time pass. 31 minutes remaining. Space-rated nickel-cadmium batteries gained. Get balloon tanks. We want that placed, getting these free. We need balloon tanks to cancerogenic rockets, the SSTV image transmitter, and after that we're all good. Oh yeah, baby. It's all coming together. Oh, it's automatic. Well, first things first, it's great that I ignored Safiku soon, so I don't need to, do this. B. E. That would suck if it went to that side, because I couldn't even bring it back if I could. But it's glad that they went the right side, literally and metaphorically. No one need to watch you like a hawk. Everyone's basically doing the same thing. You're expanding the rhizopatiste. Same as last time, 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 same as last time. You're buying Soviet industry, buying back Soviet industry. Hey, you got the flag with the hammer, and it's not a sickle, it's a compass. The same. Don't even know. Same. Everyone else is doing the same thing, so time to let time pass. Four victories in a row for Menzies. The political fallout of the Labour Party split in Australia has seen the party take a hammering in the national elections. The groupers, formerly known as the Australian Liberal Party, have now founded their own party as the Anti-Communist Labour Party, when LLP is the Australian Labour Party. While they were unable to win any seats in the House of Representatives, yet still managing the few Senate seats, they were able to take the key swing seats away from the Labour in the process, granting Robert Menzies and the coalition a for-election victory. As a result, the double dissolution called by Menzies once more has seen his position as the nation strengthens and his party leadership unquestionable in his own, as he continues to maintain his his commitment to a free world rid of communism. Many wonder if the disaster setback of the Australian Labour Party will ever help a party recover from its own self-inflicted coalition remain safe in the saddle. The Montgomery bus boycott. Black passengers make up 75% of the passengers of the Montgomery city buses. However, they are required to sit in the back of the bus and face open discrimination by bus drivers in recent instances. Rosa Parks of the NAACP still have no idea what that means. Her wife and mother was arrested for refusing to give a seat for a white passenger was subsequently fined $10. Organizer E.D. Nix decided to turn the case into a catalyst for a boycott against segregation of the buses and the discrimination of black riders. He called for younger Reverend Martin Luther King to lead the move, which quickly gained momentum. Montgomery buses quickly lost customers. Black residents aided one another in keeping the boycott going. Churches across the nation raised cash for the boycott. Enraged white residents resorted to fatal attacks and firebombing of black churches, spearhead protests, yet Martin Luther King managed to prevent retaliatory violence, bringing non-violence to the boycotters. Montgomery City eventually ended up in the segregation policy following the boycott and court orders. All change ever come. Everyone's doing the same thing as last time, so don't need to do anything there. Leave this body moving the thing. While going up closer to becoming a Soviet Socialist Republic rejected. Despite euphemism among the Mongol communist leaders, you rejected application to become a constitutional republic within the country, although Soviet appreciated in the Mongolian commitment to socialism and the Soviet model, many Mongol Soviet believe it is far too undeveloped to be incorporated. There are also some fears that incorporating Mongolia may open up antagonize the Soviets. Its allies in China and East Asia. The Mongolian government was said to be disappointed by the decision and pledged it would continue the revolutionary development of the country with the Soviet guidance within the Mongolian Communist Party. However, there are rumors that many within the party opposed the plan and many have privately urged Soviet officials to reject the proposal as well. Interesting news. Aristide updated it so you can actually choose to annex Mongolia as a Soviet Socialist Republic. Anyway, the status of Gilgit-Baltistan, which is this region here. The government of Pakistan confirmed that they have taken over the direct administration over Gilgit-Baltistan and the Azad Kashmiri government, and agreed to hand over the administration. The reason for this is that Gilgit-Baltistan is a more populous. This is that the more populous Gilgit region is not directly linked to Azad Kashmir or Indian Kashmir or Jammu Kashmir. More importantly, during the Kashmir War, it was the Gilgit Scouts led by Major William Brown and the people of the area who liberated themselves from the Kashmiri government. They pledged their loyalty not to the newly independent Kashmir but to Pakistan. The Indian government has condemned the announcement and claimed they were annexing Gilgit-Baltistan for a historical Kashmir to ensure a further peace deal. But we do not risk losing those lands. Our government has diminished the Indian suggestion as ludicrous. Interesting. That's from Pakistan's point of view again. Very interesting. Let's see what everyone else is doing. You're establishing the Van Academy of Music and Science. You're repairing farm plots. You're denouncing party factionalism. You're getting agricultural growth. You're increasing the standard of living. You're increasing industrial efforts. You're getting coastal defenses. You're expanding the AHV numbers. You're doing Asian comrades. You're expanding, doing the same as last time. You're investing in agriculture. You're getting Baltic defense. Same as last time. You're promoting usage of Cyrillic. You're participating in the Geneva Convention. You're expanding coal mines. You're getting the Vietnamese question. You're getting top research facilities. No idea what you're doing. No idea what you're doing. No idea what you're doing. You're not really communists, so yeah. That happened twice, so just take out one. No unification of Trieste. After talks in London, Yugoslavia decided to back out of the London Treaty. Back out of the signing of the London Memorandum due to the treaty being too much in Italy's favour. They accused the United States, the United Kingdom, of siding with Italy because of them following the capitalist ideals and wanting to stop SA falling into iron killing. Yugoslavia will not sign the treaty, and tensions are at all-time high in the Mediterranean. Worrying. Anyway, Soviet Air Force. Air Force is the large part of the victory in the Great Patriotic War, as our fearless aviators crushed the Luftwaffe into its position. But now, a new age of flight has come, and the time powered by jets, we need to leap into the age wholeheartedly. 20 minutes remaining. Oh. First to not now they are. After new talks in London, Yugoslavia decided to back down, signing the London Memorandum to risk a war. They still think the treaty is too much in Italy's favour, but the treaty of the war forced them to back down. I think it's supposed to be threat. They're missing a H and that's missing an O. Now, the tension have been lowered. So, historically, Trieste is Italian. Mamma mia. Ha 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 ha. Assassination attempt on King Arafa. The recently enthroned King Arafa of Bulgaria now he survived an assassination attempt from Awal Ben Abdullah. The king travelled on horseback, but the procession was targeted when an assassin drove his car into the horse carrying the king. The assassin then jumped out to stab King Arafa, but was pounced on by a French policeman. The officer stabbed during the ensuing struggle, wrestled the assassin to the ground before the would-be assassin was shot to death. Although the king fell from his horse, he suffered minor injuries and left the scene under heavy protection. King Arafa took the throne after his cousin Mohammed V was forced into exile by the French. Many Moroccans feel King Arafa was a French puppet, and this latest incident aimed to suggest moral anger to the French colonialists. Remains high. The crown is heavy. Indeed. I thought it was supposed to be King Arafa, not Mohammed V. God damn it. All I can't do is everything correctly. Sorry about that. So the National Assembly's been dissolved. Should have. Why hasn't that caused like a major problems? America sparks British economic crisis. The London Stock Exchange has collapsed. Following the news, the United States has begun calling in its war debts from the United Kingdom. This comes after the British government refused the demands from Washington to halt its intervention into the Suez. I mean, it hasn't even intervened yet. The joint Anglo-French-Israeli invasion launched after Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal. It hasn't even started that yet. I don't think. Yeah, it's not even close. It's not even the right time. It's not till June. Caught the United States off guard. Many American leaders are likening the military action to colonial-era gunboat diplomacy, which has no role in the modern world. Yeah, that aged poorly and undermines the image of the West across the region. The decision to call in the war debt leading to widespread panic across Britain, but it may just be first action. If Britain continues war, America may soon cut off economic aid, which would be disastrous to neighbour still rebelling from World War II. Concerning. And like any good person, I'd say, bring it on, US. We should have taken the canal. I don't care if it was colonialism. Colonialism is a good thing. And you should have taken the canal. Everyone's basically the same as last time. So, continue on. Again, get a new guy. Get Ludmila Rozetsvensky. You are going to PA. You're going to Pyongyang. Yeah, they're probably going to hold financial aid. Anyway. Operation Paper. The invasion of Yunnan. After the fall of the mainland troops towards Mao Zedong, an insurgency was established in Burma led by Li Mi, a nationalist general who formed the backbone of what became the Yunnan Province Anti-Communist National Salvation Army, which was supported by both Taiwan and the United States, as the Chinese forces started to mount troops on the border with Korea. The Americans urged the nationalist insurgents to mount an attack on the province, trying the national insurgents to mount an attack on the province Yunnan, tying the pro-China on conflict with the insurgents while also presenting itself as a key renewed nationalist attack on the mainland, which would break the Maoist forces and bring China into control of Chiang Kai-shek once again. As soon as these troops set themselves inside Yunnan, they would capture airfields and would allow American forces to send supplies in order to maintain the invasion, while Li Mi was more dedicated to use the incursion into Yunnan as a key to receive American weaponry, retreat to Burma, and forcefully fortify insurgency. Whether any of the plans will succeed is but a mystery. In both general and command is insurgency and the General Issue of Shanghai, General Issue in Taiwan. Surprising move. He's in Kentung. So the PRC was defeated. The South Korea has been defeated. It's been defeated for quite a while now. So yeah, you might get the brunt of the there. So be careful. Oh, pardon me. I got powder coating, so I can't speak. Get energy meters. I could just do the 20th Congress of the Communist Party. I won't until I know all these, which I'm probably going to finish by. So you'll probably see the 20th Congress next video. Developed Sankalan airfields. Airline versatility. The rest of Sun Li Jen, Rommel of the East, military general Sun Li Jen, was taken by the authorities today under orders of General Chiang Kai-shek, claimed by former was planning a military coup to depose on the press the Chinese in Taiwan. Kai-shek was vowed to dish out severe punishment on the general, being accused of several negligences in allowing his opponents to participate in a involving communist agents. At the moment, the general who is in house arrest, waiting for fate. Concerning The President visits Pakistan. Prime Minister of Pakistan recently concluded the extended visit to the United States. The high-powered trip saw Prime Minister arrive, senior cabinet ministers. During the trip, the ministers met with their counterparts while the Prime Minister held extensive talks with the President. The Prime Minister also addressed the Congress, informing them that aspirations are in early struggles in Pakistan. He toured the major landmarks and the Pentagon, and he emphasized his desire to see Pakistan armed to deal with any threat, especially communism. The visit ended with a glamorous state dinner. Before the Prime Minister left, he invited the American President to visit soon. The American media was quite impressed with the Prime Minister, while the media in Pakistan noted with pride and the President protocol afforded their leader. The American President promised to help address the agriculturist in Pakistan. Interesting. So what's everyone else doing? You're founding the Kurdish Workers' Party, even though canonically you're supposed to be alive. Technically it should be, before they found it, it should be the Kurdish Socialist Movement. Right? You're getting Turkish battleships, no idea why they're all in capital. You've got stability in Greece, question mark. You've got the April line. You built the Slita hydrological dam. You're criticizing bureaucracy. You're allowing Jewish migration. You're appointing Imre Negri as Prime Minister. So it's very possible that the Hungarian Revolution may actually still happen. Austria is promoting the legacy of the 1918 coup. You're assigning state control over education. You're cracking down on the Republic Future. You're doing the Lenin Mills. You're purging Kuomintang and Islamist influences. You're becoming a Comic-Con observer. Very good. You're reducing political repression. You're doing the Dodge line. You're finding a scapegoat. You're promoting loyalty commanders. You're winning the hearts and minds of the Lao people. You're exiling Jews. You're not even communist. Why am I even caring? So let's go on. Baghdad Pact. The United States has identified the Middle East as a vulnerable space through which communism may expand. The American efforts to form a Middle East command failed due to anti-colonial sentiments and the rising Arab nationalism. Instead of focus, has the focus gone to form a northern tier that contain communism by linking NATO and SEATO to complete encirclement of Moscow. This means an alliance that geographically would link Turkey, which is not a NATO member, it's a member of our group, to Pakistan, who may be a SEATO member. Turkey and Iraq. Turkey isn't in the group, so Iraq recently signed a treaty of cooperation called the Baghdad Pact, which called to join resistance outside interference and invited regional states to join in. The United States, Kingdom, Pakistan, and Iran agreed to join it in thus solidifying the Baghdad Pact as a regional alliance of defense. Culturally and economic ties over the United States support the initiative. It fits its regional objectives. It has refused to become a member state. This raises the question of how the alliance will cooperate militarily without direct American involvement. Each member has its own interests aside from Iran and Turkey. Neither Pakistan nor Iraq borders a communist state. On paper, the alliance looks strong, but in time will tell if practice it will become NATO of the Muslim world. What happened to CENTO? Will it bring stability to the region? Still, what happened to CENTO? 5 minutes remaining. So now he has left. The flight of Mohammed V. French recently forced Mohammed V to resign his throne and then installed his cousin Arafa, he was already king at the time, as the new Sultan of Morocco. Fearing Moroccans would rally to Mohammed V to create, French quietly ordered the former soldier and his family to leave the country within hours. The French have formally said the former soldier and his family on a plane for Corsica in exile. Hopes that the lightning-quick change of leadership and exile would stun any potential unrest proved misguided, as urban Moroccans already immediately began agitating against French interference. When news spread next morning, Mohammed V managed to release his own message. People claimed that he had not resigned or was forced to move by the French. What will happen next? Number 7. I don't know. Why is it 46? Most of these been like. Yeah, most of these are around 20 minutes. I have no idea why these are all in the 40s. The PRCR created Simplified Chinese. The Chinese government officially released the details of a new document called the Chinese Character Implication Scheme. In the new order by schools to implement new Chinese characters in their school. Although the Language Reform Research Committee of China begins the process of simplifying Chinese characters since 1952, the movement has solidified the language to be traced to the early 20th century. The Chinese government argues simplification of Chinese will improve literacy and spread education across all China. The government believes the new China change will make publishing easier and allow of the spread of news and information to all levels of society. Some Chinese have expressed concerns over reforms, claiming the government should not interfere with the written text that exists for millennia. Regardless, Chinese schools across the nation will soon receive textbooks and instructions on teaching the new characters to all students. Great. Let's see what everyone else is doing. In our faction, of course. I guess the communists of the word. You're decreasing filtration quality even more. You're beginning collectivization. You're giving the fate of the Orthodox Church. You're still doing same as last time, same as last time, same as last time, same as last time, same as last time. You're established in relationship with Korea and China, same as last time. You're cooperating with the Soviet Baltic Fleet, same as last time. You're getting Comic-Con aid. You're, same as last time, you're invading Tibet. Hope that goes well. I have seen them lose. You're getting an elite communist party. You're doing nothing. You're doing the same as last time. You're constructing local clinics. Very, very close for the war on drugs, and on that side at least. Still need to do with all that problems. So the Baghdad Pact is realized. It's not even a real faction. Anyway. Expand MiG-15 production. The mass production of MiG-15, one of the best fighter jets our scientific comrades have produced to date, will do wonders for the Air Force capabilities. 40 seconds over. Now I think of it. Alexa.
52-minute timer cancelled.
Okay, two things just happened at the same time. Bahrain has strikes. Is this yeah, this is Bahrain. So they can either deploy British soldiers, which I think the British colony has basically collapsed, so that's probably a bad idea. Or the Bahrain Revolution. I pray for the Bahrain Revolution. Probably gonna be an instant one, but yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna keep my eye on Bahrain. Probably should send a spy. Which one of you ain't doing? You're moving to Bahrain. You're not even a communist. The Great Strike in Bahrain. Ever since the National Unity Commission of NUC merged, it has advocated for trade unions to end British influence and an end to secularization. The reformist agenda allowed them to great influence and bold move. They have declared general strike. The main objective of this strike is the removal of Charles Belgrave as chief advisor to the king. To many in Bahrain, Belgrave was symbolized with the overt British influence over the country. Since he arrived nearly 3 decades ago, earlier attempts by police to contain the break up the process have backfired. Riots are slowly emerging as the violence escalates. So far, the government has refused to accept the National Unity Committee demands, but the government certainly knows the group now forms a potent threat to government policy. Once I finish these two and then this, I will then end the video. Pakistan rejects the No War Pact. The Indian government recently ordered a no war pact with Pakistan. This was, as Pakistani government assumed, meant to embarrass them. Internationally, it tried to portray Pakistan as a nation itching for war. In response to their offer, Pakistan gave a press conference and noted they would love nothing more than to have a peaceful relationship with India and dream for both nations working side by side for the security of South Asia. However, they say that India is well aware that the agreement to this treaty cannot be reached as long as the festering ruins of the Kashmir remains. They continue saying that if the Indian government implements a UN resolution and works to resolve the issue in a way that recognizes the wishes of the Kashmiri, certainly a no-war pact would be reasonable. But given the present circumstances, such as the pact, it is impossible to seriously consider. Concerning what I serve. Let's see what everyone else is doing. You're legitimizing the Kurdish state. You're pretty legitimate to me, so I'd say you're doing a damn good job. I think you're going to. Isn't that? Yeah, you joined the UN. You're saying it last time. You're not a full thing, but you're doing the Ionis film. What on earth? Oh, it's up here. Getting the Ionis Film Academy. I'm also going to make the Greek pioneers. So you're either going to do a Romanian model where you just merge the clergy with the church, or you're going to do like Albania and destroy religion. Very interesting stuff. Your deep battle theory, you're opening up to Western cultural influences, you're constructing the sugar refinery in Malik, your amnesty of fought crimes, Imran Nagy is now a leader, you're getting the Romanian People's Air Force, you're getting Concon aid, you're accusing West Germany of insufficient denazification, which it's not. You're the same as last time, you're getting currency reforms. You have finished your focus tree, so you have literally nothing to do, I guess, until I do something first. Maybe. I have no idea. You're deep in reliance on Soviet military. You're doing that. You're doing that. Last time you're combating inflation. Which is something I don't entirely know what. You don't have a, not doing any focuses. You're allowing the 555 group 559 into Lao. You're constructing air bases in Rangoon, and that's basically it. Until another communist nation appears. The French Sultan in private ceremony to avoid public outbursts. Sultan Al-Rafa, formally coronated as the new ruler of Morocco. As a cousin of the former Sultan Mohammed V, Al-Rafa took the throne following the controversial removal of an exile of Mohammed V. French officials, well, some major rural tribal leaders refused to attend the coronation. The new monarch did confirm to the lemma, and the coronation is widely condemned across Morocco, especially in the cities where Al-Rafa is often referred to in disdain as the French Sultan. Whether the new Sultan can hold onto his throne remains to be seen. What will happen next? So it's now Mohammed bin Afar. So there's going to be mass repression. So there's either going to be two things. Either there will be a revolution and the kingdom of Morocco will get independence or something close to it. Or they're going to split Morocco and it's going to have a Republican revolt. Probably a communist one. I like them to split up Morocco for a communist revolution. The Kurds request UN membership. Today, the Democratic Republic of Kurdistan has been accepted into the United Nations. Many criticized the UN for giving another seat to a communist nation. However, the UN believes inviting all nations to strengthen its power to help guarantee international peace. The Kurdish Democratic Republic, along with the Soviet Union, has been euphoric, enthusiastic. Sorry, I can't speak today. Read soon. Supporters of the UN membership for the new nation. It is likely that more partially recognized nations will be able to join the United Nations. A bold request. You're now encouraging creative substitutes to water. You're constructing the ad hoc power plant. You're doing a Romanian model. You're just doing same as last time, 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 same as last time. You're getting installed strong disciples. You're doing nothing. Well, you're doing the same as last time. You're doing nothing. You're doing the same as last time. You're getting the electrical equipment self-sufficiency. You're now communist for the Tibetan Autonomous Region, led by the Bongruk Gongkrang Tang under Funsok Wangyal. Communist, basically. World and China is another communist nation. You guys have a non-aggression pact with Albania and Burma. Nothing's happening there. You're doing the same as last time. You're tackling rising opium use. Nothing important. To watch you like a hawk. What else Spy doing? Only 16. So keep an eye on you. Alright, yeah, new operative. This should help increase it. Actually see what's happening. That's been done with. Now, develop the ep8 bomber. The Tu-16 is a pros design or a jet strategic bomber by Tupolev Industries, and it looks very promising. We should authorize further research and development. So they're announcing the retirement of Belgrave, which probably is for the best. Then it's going to be to legalize national unity, then the Suez Crisis. Although the Suez Crisis hasn't even happened yet, because I'm pretty sure it has to happen when the Arab Republic does it, which, I mean, it's getting there, but it's not going to be for a while. They need to do health, then constitution reforms, then affordable housing, and they're probably going to do either establish national union or go an area of culture first. So it's going to be a while. Uprising in Poland. Today, Polish metal workers in Poznan went on strike and have declared for democratic reforms and dissolvement of the communist government. Local anti-communist rebel groups have armed the protesters and have joined the rebellion. The Polish soon deployed the Internal Security Corps, and the Soviets sent the army to deal with them. Death toll of battle between 57 to 100 people. Polish and Soviets have said any anti-communist sentiment will be pushed out. Another rebellion in the Warsaw Pact. It's steadily the common form, but finally done with all this military stuff. Invest in supersonic fighters. Supersonic fighters are the future of air-to-air combat, and we cannot allow ourselves to fall behind in coastal areas. They were repelled, as expected. After the fall of the national government and beaten Kuomintang army is retreating for mainland second Yunnan, the army of Chen Giao, composed of 30,000 troops, gradually lost most of it. Another position in Macedonia following pursuing communist formation. 1,500 of these troops found themselves heroic under Burma's Shah state. 1,500 men began a military operation into Yunnan, being defeated by the communist garrison, defended the region and thus being thrown back to Burma, while pulling for our plan. As expected. So yeah, we need the Suez Crisis to happen, which, since it's technically still hasn't happened yet. The return of Mutesa II, after being in exile for months, Mutesa II has returned to Uganda following the ratification of the Ugandan Treaty, amending the prior agreement from 1900. The agreement includes the local African representatives in the Ugandan protectorate, as well as preserving Ugandan as an internal part of Uganda. Władysław Gomulka becomes the first secretary of the PZPR, or Polish, or it's in full, the Polska Zjednoczona Partia Robotnicza. With tensions cooling in the Polish People's Republic in its aftermath of the Polish October, still can't speak Polish. Władysław Władysław Gomulka assumed leadership of the Polish United Workers' Party. That's its name if you translate it out of Polish. He was the de facto leader of post-war Poland until 1948. Following the Polish October, he became the leader once again, after Beirut passed away. Gomulka has been initially very popular for his reforms and is seeking a Polish way for socialism, which is giving rise to a period called the Gomulka IV. Perhaps this will lead to a period of peace and prosperity and reform in one of the Eastern Bloc's largest nations, a new direction for Poland? Yeah, we need definitely someone. Okay, since everything's good there, go back here and check what everyone's doing. You're increasing quotas, your integrations into Erzurum. You're reforming churches, you're acquiring MiG-15s, you're the first Congress of the Party of Labour. That's in English. In Albanian it's the Partia e Punës e CWIC e Perese. Probably said that wrong. You're encouraging the forest investment, you're clamping down on camps, you're importing Soviet LA-9s, you're constructing radar in the West Austrian border, you're in monetary reforms, you're modernizing the LPGs, you'll get reducing press censorship, you're doing nothing, you're funding Nasser's Egypt, you're rejecting Soviet economic planning, you're doing nothing, you're anti-communist anyway, so why should I really care? Yeah, why should I really care? Laos is increasing food output. You're doing nothing even though you have stuff to do. You probably have done. Oh, I just can't see what you're doing. That's probably why. So you're probably attempting to placate Catholics. You're beginning anti-insurgency operations. That was surprisingly quick. You almost did the entire thing. You've basically done your entire tree. You checking new, surprise on new, just in case you fall to communist revolution, which I like. Okay, so the Hungarian Revolution happened in 1956 instead of 1960. Got a request Soviet intervention. With the situation in Budapest quickly spiraling out of control, Hungarian Communist Party First Secretary Erno Guró will call for the Soviet forces in the country to intervene. Guró informed the Soviets that the situation has escalated beyond capability of the government. The Soviet forces in the country have planned for this, and after several hours, the Soviet military defense ordered tanks to deploy in Budapest. Soviet forces moved early in the morning and are expected to set out positions in key junctions early afternoon. This will not end well. So something's happening in Hungary. It's not the Hungarian Revolution. America brings the Hungarian issue to the UN. The Secretary of State of the United States pledged it will soon bring recent crisis of the Security Council of the Assembly of Discussion. Americans urge the popular uprising as certain indication indicates the situation may soon escalate into open warfare, even a civil war. If it is hoped the Security Council will weigh awareness as what is occurring in Hungary and condemn the suppression of its people. Many observers believe the Americans' move will be largely sparked as the Soviet Union controls a veto vote in the Security Council and is unlikely to support any contrary opinions interests. America condemns Soviet aggression at the UN. The United States has directed its foreign minister's top officials to condemn the Soviet invasion of Hungary. The American government cannot sit idly as Soviet China's trample on the rights and dreams of the Hungarian people. The American action appears to have limited to words at the moment, but its strong and public criticism will raise international awareness of the situation. The Soviets and its allies have responded by accusing the United States of hypocrisy, noting the lack of criticism when the rights of civilians in states allied to the United States are trampled on, as expected. So the Hungarian Revolution has occurred, although they haven't left. The Chinese government provides a letter to the Soviet Premier Kaganovich from Chairman Mao. It is the Chinese not to intervene. He warns consequences of such action will cause for restraint. He has offered China's aid in facilitating a peaceful resolution to the crisis. We have been in constant contact with the Chinese over the issue, who of their opinion may give us a sense of how a wider communist world will react to the intervention. If Mao is to be believed, the intervention may lead to further schism that hurt the unity of the socialist movement. They must weigh this advance and carefully decide to advise and de-escalate or continue our preparation. So the Hungarian Revolution has happened. And in a sudden turn of events, the Hungarian Prime Minister handed over Imre Nagy, the popular communist leader, has recently been moved from his position as chairman of the Council Minister due to calls for reform and opposition to Soviet interference. In his address to the country, he urged calm and promised that he would initiate political reforms necessary for the country. This announcement was calm tension slightly, however, sporadic clashes still occurring. Reports indicating that protests still continue to arm themselves, although Nagy enjoys public trust and arrival of Soviet forces into Budapest's continued clashes with the ep8 is making many certain new prime minister lacks the means to control the situation. Major development. So I'm going to save and pray tell the Chinese no and let democracy prevail, because I would like the communist rule to be more united. So they're still in the pact. That's good. The Hungarian Revolution. I was taught that the way of progress was neither swift nor easy. Marie Curie. Curtain falls. China mediates negotiations over Hungary. After intense negotiations held at southern Poland, the representatives of Hungary and the Soviet Union agreed to compromise. Over a short time ago, it appeared the situation between both countries was leading to an armed conflict. However, the Chinese government was able to persuade the Soviets to let China facilitate talks between those sides and reach a just solution. The details of the final agreement will be released soon, but preliminary reports suggest the agreement serves a number of Hungarian domestic reforms. In exchange, the Hungarians must guarantee their commitment to the Warsaw Pact and socialism. Chinese diplomats oversaw the negotiations and helped facilitate talks to its conclusion. It is official Chinese government statement that they announced their new agreement showcases how certain states resolve disputes through peace and not war, unlike the West, an unexpected turn. So basically, they can reform, but they cannot leave the Soviet Union. So they can liberalize, but they can't, they're just gonna emulate Tito, basically. Well, other than preserving socialist unity, since technically the secret speech Khrushchev gave never happens because Khrushchev isn't here, it's Lazar Kaganovich. And B, this Hungarian Revolution is not put down with tanks, so the Western Communist Party is split from the Eastern ones. And so that's pretty good. So it's just unity. So you're increasing quotas. I think everyone's doing the same as last time. You're fully collectivizing farms. Everyone's doing basically the same as last time except for Greece. And also Austria, who's formed the Austrian Stasi. You're still doing nothing. You're still doing nothing. You're still you two are doing the same thing. You're blaming Yan'an generals for disaster. You're restoring Soviet relations. So last time. Wrong country. Still wrong country. Same as last time. You're doing nothing. We have no idea what you're doing, but it's probably one of these two. And we'll move on. Alright, time for the 20th Congress. 20th Congress of the Communist Party. The time has come for the 20th meeting of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, and there are many decisions to make. Energy meters gained. Get basic fine element research methods. Kim Il-sung has been removed from power. De-Stalinization is sweeping to communist rule. Those communist leaders still committed to Stalinism, especially core personality, consideration to leadership by individual. The pro-Soviet and pro-Chinese communist leaders under Cho Chang-ik agreed to confront Kim Il-sung only during the next major party meeting. When Kim opened the meeting to open discussion, Chang-ik started a public denunciation of Kim and his consolidation power. Kim Il-sung unprepared sought to end the meeting but lost control. At the end of the Central Committee voted to remove Kim for his failed leadership and place him with a new General Secretary Cho Chang-ik. The efforts of Kim Il-sung to consolidate power and purge rival factions within the party completely failed. New dawn for North Korea, or the DPRK. So well done, Ik. So this is sort of blocked off. Or it hasn't, and he's going to continue it. Either way. So there's going to be a lot of things that will happen. A bunch more purges, and de-Stalinization will still. Yeah. Surprisingly, de-Stalinization is happening without Stalin, even though we've gone on the Stalinist path. So that's strange. Yeah, strange things happen over time. Let's check on what everyone else is doing. You're requesting more grain shipments. You're launching the first 5-year plan. You're subsidizing clergy retirement. You're getting Soviet technological advisors. You're supporting the Hungarian Revolution. You're getting Soviet Il-28 bombers. You're getting Romanian People's Land Forces. You're getting the annulled the Judiciary Initiative. You're completing the first 5-year plan. Doing the same as last time. You're abandoning coal-based chemical production. You're resisting Comecon demands. You're doing nothing. You're expanding steel production. You're doing the foundations for a socialist state. You're doing the same as last time. You're doing nothing. You're doing industrial subsidies. You're maintaining powerful paramilitary forces. We have no idea. Urban services. Shouldn't really care. You can't do anything because you need the Suez crisis. And we move on. The Swedish Social Democratic Party has won the 1956 Swedish elections. The Swedish Social Democratic Party won the largest number of seats in the recent elections. It is expected to form a coalition with other left-leaning parties, including the centrist Farmers League. The party likens the victory to confirmation of Sweden embraced the vision of the nation of a people's home, of all the citizens working together for growth. The Swedish Social Democratic Party is one among the main parties has achieved since the 1920s, although the coalition appears stable, there was some parties are concerned over the new welfare program being proposed. Interesting. So two things happened at once. The 20th Congress of the Communist Party. The 20th Congress of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union concluded after a meeting of over 10 days. This is the first Congress held under the new leadership of the Premier Lazar Kaganovich. Chosen after Stalin's successor and the first major public appearance since the announcement, Kaganovich made the Congress an opportunity to reinforce the anti-revisionist, anti-reformist stance held by him and saluting Comrade Stalin for his service of the Soviet Union. He has then talked at length about the trial of the 14 and execution of prominent Soviet former party officials such as Nikita Khrushchev, Vyacheslav Molotov, and others who dared to change the socialist way of life. This speech was wrought with the very core of the small reformer movement, and then the party is largely hollowed out by purges and trial of the world, as expected mix of emotions with the rest expressing distress as at the continuing hardline government and the Eastern Bloc remaining unopposed about the changes in the masses of leadership. Interesting. So, our new focus tree, the Kaganovich Union. Comrade Lazar Kaganovich. It has Lazar Moiseyevich Kaganovich has assumed the post of General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union in the wake of the Comrade Stalin's retirement. Widely seen as a staunch supporter of Stalin's policies, Comrade Kaganovich was promised to guide the people higher to new heights. The Soviet Union seems to be poised to turn inward, putting its efforts in realism and socialism of one country. Now this guy is more Leninist than Stalinist, but still. He will also return the common turn back to existence instead of the common form. I'll call Leninist Varma. I still do not know how to, win as him, but still. Gonna be a heck of a ride. So we got to do the introduced 6 5-year plan, so we need to do all this. I don't know how to do a 5-year plan, so this is going to probably end poorly, and I accidentally will get Gorbachev because that's what happened to the last time I did it. I think I'm going, if I get to the 7th, I'm definitely going down the Kitov route, because Soviets computers seem pretty damn cool. We also will have to decrease our military, although that will happen after the 21st, wait no, that's 22nd, the 21st conference, which is, we have to finish all this tree first. So, things are going pretty damn well. So, I'll leave you with this, and pray tell, Comrade Kaganovich will succeed, and I will try to get him to succeed. My first path is stepping away from the personality cult. I'll start with focus now if you want. And try and reform the common turn bring a communism back to power. So, step away from the personality cult. Although the deeds of Comrade Stalin are countless, his actions not only saved the Soviet Union for its darkest moments, it also empowered the Union towards progress. It was one of the many who dedicated their lives to the Marxist-Leninist cause. We must avoid either maintaining the cult of personality that has grown around him, lest we fall into deification dogmatism. So, with that, I call this video a Jew. Everyone is doing the exact same thing as last time, for the most part. So, yeah. We've managed to both be Stalinist and support de-Stalinization at the same time, a feat that I'm pretty sure no one would ever get. Whilst also hoping that in the 60s and 70s, decolonization means more communist nations do appear. And pray to God they do. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time. Hope to see you then. This is Matt Limited signing out. Good day, goodbye, goodbye.